One of the best ways to color correct or white balance your photographs is with Adobe Camera Raw. And that's what we're going to take a look at here. And you can use this technique whether you're working on RAW files, JPEGs, or TIFFs. And what I want to do here is take a look at how we can leverage the way Adobe Camera Raw works with color in order to have a good starting point for our photographs. Because before we actually begin to retouch or enhance, we have to make sure we have correct and accurate color. We're going to be working on these two images here, Chris Lieto 01 and Chris Lieto 02. On a Mac, hold down the Command key. On Windows, hold down a Control key and click on both images, and then press Command or Control R to open up both of these files inside of Adobe Camera Raw. And here we have a couple of studio portraits of an Ironman athlete. One where he's holding a color checker chart that's put out by the folks at X-Rite. It's called the Color Passport. And then just another one where he's standing here against a white seamless. Now, let's take a look at a couple of different ways that we can color correct these photos. For starters, one of the things that I could do is I could simply press the I key in order to select the white balance tool, and then I could click on something in the image that I know or I think should be neutral. In this case, the background. So when I do that, you notice it modifies my color temperature and tint, and now the image is a little bit more color correct. Press the P key, here's our before, and then our after. Now if ever you want to reset your color correction, simply go back to the white balance pull down menu, and we'll select as shot. That will reset those sliders to their default or original settings there. Alright, well how else could we do this? Well, ideally what you typically want to do is try to capture something that has neutrality in it, like this photo here where he's holding the color checker chart. Then what I can do is click on something I for certain know that is color correct, in this case this little gray patch here. Next, I want to apply this particular white balance to the other image, so I'll click Select All. Then I'll click on Synchronize dot dot dot. And remember, whenever you see dots, that tells you that you're about to see another dialog. In this case, it's asking me, what do I want to synchronize? Well, the only thing that I want to synchronize is a white balance, so I'll choose that option here, deselecting all of these other options or controls and just focusing in on white balance, and then click OK in order to apply that. Well, let's make our way over here to the second image. Now, in order to look at the before and after, we can press the P key. Here's before, and then here's after. Now, the image is looking a lot better. It's more color correct. Yet if we want to be really certain, what we can do is click on this tool right next to the white balance tool. It's called the Color Sampler tool. And once we have that tool, we can click on an area in an image in order to view the RGB values for that particular area. Now, one of the things we know about RGB values is that equal amounts of red, green, and blue equal neutrality. So in this case, it's showing me that, yep, the background is definitely neutral. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to double check that is because occasionally when you white balance something, what happens is you kind of get used to the color shift, and you might even kind of start to like the color shift. And then when you correct it, you think, oh, you know what, I went too far, or perhaps this image is a little bit yellow. But you're only thinking that because in comparison to how blue it used to be, it now looks a little bit over yellow. So again, these little color sampler points are nice ways to check your color. It's also kind of nice if you want to make any further modifications. For example, let's say we want to modify our temperature slider. Well, as I do that, I can see that I'm swinging or changing the overall color balance here of the background in a different way. And this will just help me stay in tune with where I want to go. Perhaps what I want to do is have it close to neutral, but just a little bit cooler than it was in order to have perhaps a little bit more of an edgy feel, not quite so warm. And so in this case, we can see that those numbers aren't quite exact. A little teeny bit of a color shift there. Press the P key, here's our before. Press the P key again, there's our after. Now, all that we need to do in order to accept this or to apply these settings to the photograph is to simply click Done, and Adobe Camera Raw will apply these settings to our photographs.